Are E36s still worth it in 2025? Should you buy one? Stick around and I will answer that question shortly. So I genuinely do think the E36 is the sweet spot for the 3 Series, and I think it's the best 3 Series because they are driver's car. E36 is a driver car. When it comes to an M3, whole different story. Obviously, it's so hard to pick one, but I think E46 nails it. Alright, so this is my E36. It's a 1998 328i. And the reason this is here is because I think on this market in 2025, you should do something similar to what I did. So let's start with this car. So you saw this car in the previous videos. This was actually 2-3 years ago when I rebuilt this car. So the head gasket blew. I rebuilt the whole engine, including the head gasket obviously. And we gave it a paint job that you guys never saw. So this is the YouTube debut of the paint job that I did in my garage, and we did a manual swap. So this brings me to today's topic. I genuinely think if you want an E36 on this market today, you should probably get something like this, where it's an automatic and you manual swap it. Good condition car, not abused, and you buy it and manual swap it. But the reason being is most of the E36s that were manual, they're already beat on, so you will not gonna find a good one for decent price. And everything about the E36 that made it great within the past few years was the price. You would get a lot of car for the same price. Obviously these S chassis, you're paying crazy prices and you're not getting nowhere near a car like this. I mean, come on, they're not even 5 lug. So let's get more into detail of how likely that is and how possible that is. So this whole car for me, including the price of the car, which I bought in 2020. I bought this car for $2K. It had 245,000 miles and it was an automatic. And the head gasket was done at a shop before I bought it. So it was a good deal and it didn't have any crazy issues. Believe it or not, this car overall cost me under $5K, including the $2,000. That's insane, excluding the wheels. So is this something you can do? Is the manual swap something you can do? You gotta be honest with yourself. Only do that and only take my recommendation if you have done a project in the past and you came through and you finished it up and you can prove yourself you can finish something in that caliber. So do I think it's a good idea to buy an E36 in 2025? Absolutely, especially if you're doing the things I told you to do. However, I don't think these are as good of a deal as they were, let's say 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So no, this is not the best bang for the buck. If you want the best bang for the buck, I genuinely do think E46 chassis is the best to buy at this moment. But I'm not gonna go in depth too much why I think E36 is better than an E46. If you're looking to buy an E36, consider an E46. But E46s, again, they're big bang for the buck. You're getting more power. It's a newer car. And another big thing is the parts are still cheap. You can still find cars in decent shape. You can still find a lot of them at the junkyard and get parts for really, really cheap, where E36s are barely popping at junkyards nowadays. However, I think E36 is a better car. I own the 325 Touring E46 2004 wagon, rear-wheel drive. And the M54 engine is good and all, more power and everything, but I still do think E36 is so simple because it's older, less electronics, less plastic parts in the engine, trying to increase their profit by putting cheap parts and stuff because the market's getting more competitive. Either way, the E46, you can tell there is more to it. It's not as simple, still very simple, but compared to E36, not as simple, which makes it not as reliable at times compared to E36, but it's a great car. I genuinely think if you're in a market for E36, E36 is the way, and it's definitely more reliable, more worth it. Like I mentioned, I sold my wagon and I bought another E36, which is this one, because my first E36 is the black one, picture right here. But yeah, these cars are really good, which makes E36 or any car that's a really like a common car, a good car. One, a lot of info out there. Don't be scared. I was kind of scared But there is so much info out there. You can literally find any issue you have on these cars, so you're not gonna be stranded in your driveway for months. That's never gonna happen. 2, these cars are very common. Again, that means there's a lot of aftermarket support. When there is a lot of aftermarket support, there is competition in the market, because there's a lot of companies that are doing that. So there's gonna be a lot of companies that are doing it cheap. There's gonna be a lot of companies that are doing it very expensive, which gets you parts for cheap, even aftermarket. 3rd thing about this car is there were so many of them produced, and there are gonna be a lot of spare parts. But as of lately, there haven't been much. And E46s, especially in the junkyards, are literally like everywhere. I rebuilt the engine, meaning I did the head gasket, new head, machined the head, and put every single gasket you can put in this car. So I did not touch the piston, cranks, nothing like in that sort, for $600. So you can expect to pay $600 to rebuild the whole engine. Head gasket, you can do it as low as $300. I have a video where I go in depth on the prices and stuff. I'll put it right here. And next thing, the manual swap cost me $1,000. So I did everything the most budget you can do, and I refreshed everything I touched. That was because I got my transmission from the junkyard for like $300, where if you're buying it from Facebook Marketplace, you're gonna end up paying for a ZF 5-speed around $700 all day, every day. So that's the prices. $1,600, rebuild the engine and the manual swap. So expect to pay that much. I did everything myself in my garage and try to do everything cheap. So is it worth it to get an automatic converter to manual? I think so. You can get way better cars that are automatic, way better condition, that is worth your time and money being invested in the car. And as a conclusion, if you're trying to save, definitely look into getting an automatic, which is in a better condition, and swapping it, or getting a blown head gasket and swapping it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that somewhat helpful. Comment down below if you agree with me, and let me know if you've done the same thing, where you bought an automatic and swapped it because you thought it was a better deal. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe, because it's gonna help me post way more. I'm posting every week. Thank you.